Hey guys, what is up? It's your girl, Grace Torie, and I am back with a whole new podcast episode. I hope you guys enjoyed the little mini summer break where we had like a 3-week break from doing episodes. I know I did. I'm back, I'm refreshed, and I'm ready to go. So for today's episode, I thought it would be fun to jump in and talk about all the things that I've learned and I don't know, the realizations I've had while I was on this break and how I am implementing them to have a better summer and improve my life in general. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. P.S. Before we do, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow, whatever the term is on whatever platform you are currently listening or watching on. It takes about 0.2 seconds, helps out the podcast more than you know. So if you are a girly in her 20s looking to find a community to grow with that are also ambitious and just trying to figure it all out, then welcome, we're your girls. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump on in. I'm Grace Torie, and you're listening to That Girl the Podcast. Grab a beverage of choice and settle in, because the new episode is starting now. First, we're going to address the quick little elephant in the room. I did not have time to do the podcast rebrand. I really wanted to. I just did not get to it. It's on the list, though. I haven't forgotten. I did all these other exciting things, and so I just did not get to it in time. But it's still the plan. We're still planning the rebrand, so it's coming. It just won't be yet. So the first thing we're going to talk about is learning to rest. I swear to you, the first week that I had like a break, like that weekend, I slept the whole time. And I had all these grand plans, because the way that this fell is Memorial Day was at the beginning, so I had a 4-day break. And when I tell you all I did was sleep, like all I did was sleep. I did not leave my bed. I just watched a Vanderpump Villa because I had to get the tea on Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and in order to do that, you have to watch Vanderpump Villa. So it was the whole thing. That was literally all I did. I did not do anything else. And I felt really guilty because I had this long list of things I needed to do. I needed to work on the rebrand. I needed to work on my book. I needed to clean my whole house, which was like my big main thing. And I didn't do any of it. I did a little bit of formatting for my book, and that's about it. Like, nothing else. And I have this silly, goofy little quirk where I feel like I'm a piece of trash if I take a break. Like, if I'm just, like, laying down watching TV and there's things to be done, I just feel like the worst person on the planet, which is actually kind of insane because there's always going to be things that need done. Like, that's one thing about adulting is you're always going to have something else that needs to get done. Like, your house is never going to be 100% clean. You're always going to have something else to do for work. You're always going to have a text message you need to send, or you could cook dinner or something like that. Like, there is always going to be something else to do on your to-do list. And it's never going to be 100% like, I have nothing else to do but watch TV. So it was really hard for me to not feel guilty about it. And the people that I have in my life, like friends, coworkers, whatever, they all know that that's really hard for me. And when I tell you that they were like, how was your weekend? And I was like, well, I actually didn't do anything. They literally cheered. Like, they cheered because they're like, good. You're on the verge of burnout. You're pushing yourself way too hard. I'm so glad that you didn't do anything, because I'm over here like feeling terrible. Like, I'm like, ugh, I didn't get anything done. You don't get that many 3-day weekends, and I just kind of blew it. Like, now I have to do this, and this on top of work and da-da-da-da-da. And I think that them kind of like cheering and being like, thank God you took the time even though you didn't want to, really put it into perspective for me. Like, maybe this is productive. And how many podcast episodes have I done where I've been like, rest is productive, rest is not bad. Like, I know that. It's easy for me to say, but it's way harder to implement when you are a workaholic and a perfectionist and all these things. So yeah, I learned to rest without feeling guilty. I've got lots of episodes on how to implement things to make you feel less guilty about it, but I actually practiced what I preached, and it was not horrible. It was hard at first, but I am grateful I did, because I did, like, I would have been burnt out, and I wouldn't have been able to get the things done that I did later on if I wouldn't have rested and kind of stopped myself from falling over the edge into burnout century. Next is, I understand the value of a good friend group, which I did before, but I think that I had this mindset of like, well, if it's meant to be, it'll be like friends are just gonna fall into my lap. And like, I'm not saying I'm a terrible friend. Like, I do reach out, but I think that a lot of my friends have moved away. I don't think that, I know that. So there's not that many in my city. And for me, I was kind of just like, well, I'll make new friends when the time comes. Like, instead of just reaching out to old friendships that I've kind of just let fizzle out that are still in Lexington, I was like, no, it's meant to will be like friends aren't as high of a priority as they should have been. And we saw some old friends. I saw multiple different groups of old friends just like from going out to lunch, and then we went to a wedding where we saw people from college, like all of these different situations, and it kind of made me, I don't know, just the difference in mood and the difference in like motivation and all of those things just from seeing friends and being like, wow, I miss this. And I know that sounds silly. Like, obviously, you need friends, but it just was not very high on my priority list. Like, I don't know. I was kind of like, work, 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 work. And then I was so exhausted when I was done working that I was like, no, like, I'll figure out friends and like working on like a social thing tomorrow. Like, I'll do it another day. And I think I also was very much like, well, I can always just hang out with Josh's friends because he hangs out with his friends all the time. And like, not that they're not my friends, like they are, but it's not the same. Like, I am not like there. I don't know. It doesn't feel the same. Like, I need my own friend group. So it really helped me look at it through a new point of view. And it's not that I was intentionally like pushing it off. I think that it was more of like a, I'll get to it when I can. And now that I've kind of realized how much I missed it, I think that I'm going to try a lot harder to make more of an effort because I don't know, it was really nice. And it did make me sad that I've missed out on a lot because I've been hustling and grinding and just like looking at it as something that I'll get to in a little bit. Like, I'll get to it later. So that was an important lesson that I'm glad that I learned, and I hopefully am going to stick to it and not going to get too caught up. Another thing is my books. So as you guys know, I have a book that's hopefully coming out end of summer, fall. So I'm doing final formatting for that, final edits. It's in final draft form. I got to see it in a book form, like with the font, with the cover, and it was digital. I wasn't like physically holding it. But when I tell you I cried, like, I never expected myself to get to this point. And I know that it's just like a little thing, and I'm doing this specific book is more for me than anybody else. Like, it could sell one copy and I'd be happy. It's more about the process of coming out of my shell, and I think that I was really scared to say a lot of these things publicly and like tie my name to them because it is poetry. This first book is a poetry book. And so it's more about finding my voice and not being afraid. And so I was really excited. I did actually, so there's this coffee shop that I go to all the time because you guys know I work from home, but when I need to really lock in, I go to coffee shops because it's hard to focus sometimes when like the dogs are being extra crazy or my house is dirty and I'm just like looking at all the things that need done. So when I really need to lock in and I have a lot done, I go to a coffee shop, and this is the same coffee shop almost every time. I go at least once a week. I saw that they were having a poetry open mic night, and I was like, okay, dope, because I am like comfortable going there. I go there by myself all the time. I'm like friendly with all of the baristas and like, you know, the people that work there. So I was like, okay, this would be a great environment for me to get involved in like the writing community in Lexington because there is a really big one, and it's also Lexington Poetry Month, so like good timing, but I'm just not a part of it because again, I'm too busy and I push it off. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to Poetry Mic Night. So I dragged Josh over with me, and this coffee shop is actually really close to his shop because he owns a car shop. And so after I was like comfortable, he left because he had to go get some stuff done at his shop. And I did not go up. I'm sorry. Sorry to report. I didn't go up and do open mic. Like, I didn't bare my soul. I told myself that if they called last call and took like people at the last second than I would, because you had to sign up ahead of time, and I didn't know the vibes. I was honestly too scared to even go at first, so the fact I even went was really big for me. But by the end, I was like, yeah, I could totally go up there and just like recite one of my pieces, but I want to make sure, I wanted to make sure the vibes were good. And they didn't end up doing like a last call, like, hey, does anybody else want to come up? Which is totally fine. So I did not go up, but I'm definitely going to start going. It's once a month, and I was really, really proud of myself for getting out of my comfort zone and doing something so scary, because I've never shared my poetry in person. It's always been on social media, and I just recently started sharing it not anonymously, like with my name attached. So that was a really big milestone for me, and I was really excited about that. And like I said, my book's going to be coming out soon. I shared some pieces on the podcast Instagram, and yeah, the other one I will fully focus on once this one is done and ready. I decided that was the best approach, but I did get all the way done, almost completely done with Act 1, and there's 3 acts, which means I'm almost a third of the way done, which is crazy. That is with the first draft, of course. There's probably going to be like 3 if I had to guess. So, but the fact that I created something out of nothing, because this is a fantasy book, is crazy. So I'm really, really excited about that. And just got a lot done there. That was kind of my top priority for my break, is to get a lot done with the books. So good, happy, vibing. Prioritizing health. You guys, you may know, you probably know if you've been around, that I turned 26 in April. The thing about turning 26 is you start getting a little old. I'm old, okay? I feel so old. That was one thing we were actually talking about, me and this old friend group that I haven't seen in a while. We're all old now, because we used to go out to bars and parties, and we used to boot and rally, and we would drink until 5 a.m., go to an 8 a.m. class, and then we'd get back together at like 6 p.m. and do it all over again. These are people that I just felt like invincible with, like forever young type beat, like, oh, we're never gonna get old. And we're all sitting there, we're like, damn, I'm old. Like, you guys, I had some fun with some tequila at this wedding, I'm not gonna cap, and I have not drank in a while, and I was like, you know what, tequila, I'm Latin, I got this. When I tell you that by the time I got home, I was already like had a headache, which I've only been hungover once in my life before this, I was like, okay, so I'm getting old. Wow, I get hangovers now. This is crazy. I also have joints that are like sore all the time because I grew up riding horses, which means your knees are screwed from the beginning. I don't know, I'm just getting old. The point is, I'm getting old. Your girl's not as young as she used to be. And I noticed that like my health is changing. Like, I can't just eat whatever I want. I will gain weight. I will get acne. I've been on a skincare journey you guys know about. And I can't just, like, do whatever I want, which has been really hard for me as someone who thoroughly enjoys doing whatever she wants. So I really took the time to fix my skincare routine, figure out a diet that works for me, and are we there, like, 100% yet? No, but I really, really took some time to do that. Figuring out, like, working out. I wouldn't say that I'm, like, crazy working out yet, but I want to get back to where I was when I was in college, when I was working out, like, 5 to 6 days a week in some capacity, whether it was going on a trail ride with my horse or like going to the gym in different ways. Just getting active is really important, so I'm trying to get back into that. But just like in my old age of 26, learning to prioritize my health because I want to prevent things from happening versus all of these things happening, my health declining, and then having to be proactive. No, reactive. I would rather be proactive. So, prioritizing my health is something I did, which you guys should also be doing, even if you're 15 years old. If you're listening to this and you're 15,
Ariana, what are you doing
do
here?
as I say, not as I do. But, yeah, prioritizing your health. It's really important. Next, I really, really took the time. Okay, so let's be real. I took like the second half of my break to focus on disconnecting from electronics. The first half was very much like Vanderpump Villa, got back into Vanderpump Rules, finished Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, was on my phone playing silly little games. Josh got me a Steam Deck for my birthday, so I was like trying to do that. Like all of these little electronic things that I shouldn't be doing. Like it's okay to do in moderation, but it was taking up my entire life. And so the second half, I was like, you know what? All of this time that you're spending doing brain rot activities, you could be doing activities that are still relaxing and not brain rot. Like, you could go lay in your hammock, you could go for a walk, you could go connect with a friend. Just forcing myself to do the hard thing because it's easy to just lay in bed and watch TV, and it is something I'm still balancing, like finding the balance in between. Because there are days when yesterday I was trying to read my book and I just was like, I can't focus, my brain is dead. So, little things like that, I was like, maybe I should take a break. So, I was taking a break. But just disconnecting and forcing myself to do the thing I don't necessarily want to do. Like, maybe I don't want to go for a walk. Maybe I don't want to go to the gym. Maybe I don't want to clean my room. But I know that I'll feel better on the other side. And like I said, I am someone who thoroughly enjoys doing whatever she wants. So having to give myself a little pep talk and be like, bestie, this is adulting. I know you just want to lay in bed and brain rot, and I know that you're kind of healing and resting and all that, but you are still going to be resting if you sit outside and enjoy the nature with your dogs or throw a ball with the dogs. Like, I don't know. I feel like electronics are just like, for me, not the best way for me to disconnect from society and like rest because it strains my eyes. One, because I work in corporate, so I'm on a computer from like 8 to 5, so it's not good for me to go and then get on a computer from 5 to whatever. It just like, I don't know, there's just better ways for me personally to spend my time. If it's good for you, it's good for you. So I learned to force myself to do things I didn't necessarily want to do and disconnect from electronics. I also focused on living outside of my comfort zone and branching out. I think that as a girly with chronic anxiety, I tend to overthink a lot. And I'll say, no, I can't do that because of XYZ. Like, well, if I go do this, then I need to be home by this time. Or, I really needed to do this today. And if I go do that, then I can't do this. And what if I wear this outfit and everybody thinks that I'm weird, or like it's a little too fashion forward for Kentucky, or what if these people don't like me? I haven't seen them in a long time. What if they hate me? Like, what if I was like so mean when I first saw them and I don't remember it, even though I'm not like genuinely a mean person. I don't know. I have this weird thought that I'm just like so mean, or people perceive me as mean because I have an RBF. So whenever I like see people I haven't seen in a while, I'm like, oh my god, they must think I'm mean because I have an RBF and I've had one my whole life, which is an insane train of thought that just comes from with someone who has chronic anxiety. So I learned to stop questioning myself in every little thing I do. Like, just be myself. Myself is weird. Myself is like, she's a lot to handle, I'm not gonna lie. But I think that there's a line between like being normal and like being self-aware of like when to say things in certain situations and holding back from being yourself because you're afraid of how people are going to perceive you. So, towing the line between having self-awareness and being like, okay, it's not appropriate to say this at this time or to do this or whatever. Like, not that I'm like doing anything wrong, but I think that that is something that we get confused as anxious people, like having self-awareness versus censoring ourselves to the point that we are not. Sorry, there's a bird outside my window just going ham on a branch. Okay. Um, Censoring ourselves because we're worried about how people are going to perceive us. So, learning to live outside of that comfort zone of don't say this, don't do that, and branching out because I feel like I'm going to regret it if I don't, which brings me to my next point, which is life is so, so, so short. It's so short. Like, you blink and it's over. Like, I've already been alive for 26 years, and Josh and I were talking about this, and I was like, I feel like things have flown by. Like, yesterday I was like literally 10 years old, and he's like, no, for me life has been pretty long. So I think that it's a preference thing, but I don't know, life is so short. And for me, like, you never know when your last day on earth is. Like, you could be gone tomorrow. So say the things you need to say, talk to the people that you need to, reconnect. Don't let grudges last forever if you do want to reconnect with someone. And then, like, tell people how you feel. Like, if you want to get married and you feel like you're waiting for, like, the perfect situation, like, it's never going to happen. Life is so short. Finances are never going to be perfect. Career's never going to be perfect. It's never going to align perfectly. Like, if you're waiting for the moment to do something, like a sign, whether it's a career move, like I said, a wedding, having kids, like, definitely make sure that you're in a place where you can financially support yourself to an extent. Like, you don't want to set yourself up for failure, but also understand that if it's just your own anxiety getting in the way, like, life is so short, it's never going to be absolutely 100% perfect. And if you can make something work, then go for it. Like, life is way too short for you to just wait around for that perfect moment that's potentially never going to happen. Last thing is, I've really just been resetting everything. We're resetting for summer. I mentioned health and how I'm really trying to make it a little bit easier on me as someone who is so busy to still cook and eat healthy and have these goals that I can reach from a health standpoint and go to the gym, like, all of those things. So fitting all those into my life. My environment, I've been doing big clean outs, trying to clean out my house, clean everything, just like from a making sure that laundry's caught up and dishes are done, like that kind of standpoint, because my environment really does affect how I feel. Fitting friends into my schedule more, prioritizing that more. And like I said, just priorities in general, reassigning the level of importance. I think that it's important for me to understand that, like, not everything can be a top priority, and you shouldn't have, like, the same thing as your number one priority all the time, because then you're going to be neglecting all of the other things. And I think also just balancing all of these things, because it's okay to maybe not work and go out with friends instead, or take a break from working, or work instead of doing something when you have a strict deadline. Like, life is a balancing act, and I think that I really have looked at it like this is my constant priority number one thing, and then once this is finally done, once I reach that invisible goal that I may never reach, then I can focus on the next thing and then the next thing. And that's just not super realistic. So, yeah, it's been good. It's been a really good break. I hope that you guys have had a good start to your summer. If you have any tips for anything that you've learned recently in general, or for your summer on how you're making it the most productive, best summer ever, I would love to hear it. So definitely comment down below if you can, and you're on a platform where you can do that. But I'm back. We'll be back to going every single Sunday. I hope to one day get back to being Wednesday and Sunday. It's just a little rough right now, but we're good, we're thriving, and I'm excited for summer. I love you guys so, so much. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow. Please leave a rating and review if you can. It takes 0.2 seconds, literally. On Spotify, it's literally just stars. You don't even have to comment. And it means the absolute world to me. Like, genuinely, the whole wide world to me. So, I'll catch you guys on the flippity flip. I love you so much, and I'll see you then. Bye, guys.